Hello, happy Thursday. Kimberly here. Welcome to Inspired Thoughts. I was actually asked to talk a little bit more about something that I mentioned on a previous video, and that is the Wheel of Well-Being. So that is what we're going to be talking about today. It's a bit rainy and many would say cold because I think it's like 57 here in California. Raining quite a bit outside. So I'm in my comfy chair in my living room. And but don't worry, I still made it out to Starbucks. I'm good to go. But yeah, it's a little icky outside. I don't know if you can see or not, but kind of rainy. Well, can't even tell. Still looks lovely out there, all the green. But it is nonetheless a beautiful day. And I am in my comfy chair in my living room, ready to talk about the Wheel of Well-Being. So I'm very excited about this because there are, as I've studied and learned, as many of you know, I've been in the wellness space, the health and fitness industry, yoga, holistic wellness, for over 25 years now. I often joke that I've been in this industry since I was 10, but it was really 19. I became a certified personal trainer when I was 19, started training and coaching clients, and then teaching group fitness, then got into group fitness management, then program design, started traveling around the world, training instructors and trainers through conferences, doing workshops, intensives, leading instructor training, certifications, so on and so forth. So I dug in pretty heavily. Oh, my mom's on. She says it's 73 and sunny in Ohio. How happy are you that you made it home last night, Mama? Mama had quite a travel day yesterday going home from Alabama because someone, not to be named, booked her flight home from Alabama from the wrong airport. Oh. So Mama had a little bit of a delay, but she made it. Hey, Jonathan, happy Thursday. Oh, it's raining in Germany. Okay, we need to seriously get some sunshine headed your way, especially if you're not feeling good. So Jonathan's dealing with a little bit of back pain. Oh my goodness. Well, hopefully this will bring you a bit of ease and some inspiration, Jonathan, so you can take your mind off of that a bit. But I would say the first, probably solid decade that I was in this world of helping people, be healthier and stronger. It really was about the physical. It really was about, giving them the right exercise routine and nutritional tips and reminding them to rest and take good care of their body. It really was about the physical. It was about the body. And I would say it's been over the last 15 years, really the last 10 to 12 years, that I've studied and chosen to take a deep dive into what well-being really is. We across the world answer the question, what do you want out of life, in very much the same way. I want to be happy. Well, what is happiness? Happiness is an ideal state of well-being. And there's a heck of a lot more to that ideal state of well-being than just a physically fit body. So, and I have often been challenged with the fact that I was in an industry that put so much emphasis on physical fitness. And I will also tell you that fitness and health are very different. There could be someone who is physically seemingly very fit who is not healthy. And there could be someone that you would look at first glance and think they're not fit, but they're actually could run circles around you because they are so healthy. So we have to just be very careful about the judgments that we make, not only in our day-to-day life, but just about well-being in general. And in the people I've coached over the recent years, they often come to me with the idea of physical well-being or physical fitness as their primary focus. And I welcome that. If that is what your focus needs to initially be, if that is the gateway in to you opening yourself up to living a healthier, happier life, God bless it, so be it. Let's start there. But then no matter where we start, we always have to then move down the path of understanding all the elements that make up true well-being. And so there are a lot of different, wheels of wellness and well-being out there. And I have a wheel of well-being that I've created that focuses on the 6 areas of well-being that when I'm coaching, I focus on. So I went ahead and just printed out a copy. This is the wheel, not centered, not straight, but the wheel of well-being in my world, within my company, The Inspired Life. So of course, there's the physical, and that's often, when we think about, am I healthy? Am I well? We do think about the physical, and that does involve things like movement, exercise, and a lot of times we need to have the conversation around what that looks like and what's okay along your journey, because our forms of exercise will change over the course of time as our body evolves and changes, and we go through injuries, and we come back, and we go through challenges. And so often it's easy to fall into the trap of, but I used to be able to do this, and then have all your focus be on what you can't do anymore, when you would be so much better off if you focus on what can I still do. The question should always be, but what can I still do? It should never be, I can't do what I used to be able to do. It should always be, but what can I still do? What can I do now? What can I do today? Because no matter where you're at in your life or on your journey, I can promise you this, your body was made to move. Your body was made to move. Now, unless you've been in some kind of unfortunate incident that has made that an impossibility, and that's a whole nother conversation, you have an opportunity to move. I mean, there's even chair fitness. You can still move. And the more you choose not to move, the worse off your physical condition is going to be. The more you're going to lose your ability to do the things that you could once do. So movement is really, really important. But movement, exercise, can take so many different forms that a big part of the journey is really discovering for yourself, okay, what works for me and what works for me today? Because what works for me today may not be what worked for me a week ago, a year ago, 10 years ago. And you have to be okay with that. So yes, it does involve movement, exercise. It improves energy. It sustains the body's ability to continue to move. So yeah, you got to move. And then of course there's the element of nutrition. And there are so many different diet plans and eating plans, nutritionists and dietitians. There are many out there, and they often will have different beliefs and different processes that they will take you through based on what their training is. And I promise you, there's probably research out there to support every one of them, even the ones that think completely opposing ways than each other. I mean, there's research around a high protein diet. There's research around a vegan diet. There's research around a high carb diet. There's research around a low fat diet. There's research around a high fat diet. I mean, you can find research to support whatever you want to do. And so instead of driving yourself crazy, you can do one of two things. You can either go down the path of these different eating plans and determine what works for you, trial and error, or you can take a step back and not let it be a crazy making situation, and trust your intuition with what works for you. And it does still require perhaps a bit of trial and error, but my rule of thumb is eat mostly what God made for you and practice moderation. Okay? If you can eat mostly real foods, and as opposed to, processed foods with chemicals and additives, and practice moderation to where you're not driving yourself crazy with being so specific about what you're allowed to put in your body and what you're not. Because honestly, I think it is our analysis and our obsession with making sure that we're 100% on all the time, that's half of the problem. Because again, we're putting our focus in this area of what's not good for me, what's not good for me, what's not good for me. Well, how about just dabble in the area of what sounds good to eat, what will fuel my body? And when we get to the other areas of the wheel of well-being, you'll see a connection to how making some shifts in other areas will cause you to make different choices in what you do put into your body. So yeah, nutrition is a big deal. It is a big deal, but it's not something that I want you to drive yourself crazy with, okay? If you can either find the eating plan that works for you through trial and error, knowing that there's no bad eating plan. So don't find the one that works for you and then tell everyone else they're eating wrong. Don't do that. Don't become a vegan and then tell people who are eating meat that they're bad. Please don't do that. Yoga teachers especially, don't do that, okay? Because it's not wrong for everyone. And to be grateful for what God's provided us across the board is really, I think, what's most important. But you need to find what works for you. So for me, I try to eat mostly, natural, organic, free range, and then moderation. Okay. Moderation, I think, is really, really key with all of this, because you know what? Sometimes you need a Reese's peanut butter cup. You just do. You just do. And you have to be okay with that. So then, of course, there's rest. There's physical rest. Okay. There's the fact that you need to move, but there's also, and the fact that you need to fuel your body to be able to move and feel good. But then you know what? You also need to rest. And often people judge their well-being from a physical standpoint of how well they can move, how hard they can push themselves. But you know what? How quickly can you recover? How quickly can you come back to a place of rest? And how well can you rest from day to day? So getting good sleep and providing opportunities through the day to have the downtime, really important as far as the physical goes. And what you're going to find, one of the reasons when I created this wheel, and yes, I actually designed this with my massive graphics art skills. Someone could probably make this better. If you can make this better, send it my way. But when I did create this, I overlapped these. In fact, I wish there was a way to make them all overlapping, but instead I just put the kind of the star in the middle that connects them all, because it's all interconnected. It's all interconnected. Like from the physical, when you give yourself the downtime, it's also going to affect your emotional state, your intellectual well-being, your spiritual well-being. So it's all interconnected. But from a physical standpoint, specifically, move, fuel your body well, rest. Boom. And then the next step is emotional. I'm just going around this way. It's clockwise for me. Is that clockwise for you? I don't know. But emotional. So your emotional well-being is mindset. It's in a great deal mindset. And how you're feeling today. There's how am I feeling today physically, and how am I feeling today emotionally? And there are so many things that you can do that science has proven will elevate your emotional state of being. Breathing exercises, a gratitude practice. Like every morning I wake up, I make sure to take a few minutes before my feet even hit the floor, and I have a presence practice for myself. And it helps me frame my day from a standpoint of appreciation. And I highly encourage you, even if you only take a minute or two, and it could be as simple as lying in bed and realizing that, oh, this feels so good to be lying in bed. These sheets feel so good. This pillow is so comfortable. How lucky am I that I have a bed and a roof over my head? Something as simple as that. And if you need to set an alarm to give yourself the extra tiny bit of time it takes to do it, but I tell you, it doesn't take any more than a couple of minutes. So squeeze that in, wedge that in to your morning, and just notice how your emotional state, and there's not only an uptick in your emotional state, but also your mental, your intellectual well-being. So it's impacted as well. It's all interconnected, right? So things that you can do for your well-being, you can find flow. This is for both emotional and mental state as well. Things that you can do, we often think of them as hobbies, but things that you can do where you almost lose track of time because you're so in it. You know, the definition of flow is to be so absorbed in the moment that you lose track of space and time. And so whatever that is for you, for many, it's, you know, going for a run, like the runner's high. That is so not me. I think sometimes I have the hiker's high, but I got to be walking. I can walk uphill and down, but I'm walking. Um, I was teasing someone the other day that she like ran 50 miles. I'm like, oh Lord, I don't even want to drive 50 miles, but I'll hike all day, however far that takes me. Um, for some, it's gardening or knitting, reading a book, sitting, listening to music, dancing, practicing yoga. For me, it's teaching. Like I go to teach a class and I look at the clock and I think, holy cow, it's been an hour? Really? Like really? The time just flies. So find things that you can do in your day-to-day life that become not only habitual, but they become a ritual. Like you just like brushing your teeth, they become a part of what you do. So routine that to not do them, you notice it right away, you miss it. And you'll notice that implementing flow in your life, just opportunities, moments at a time where you just feel like lost in the moment, it will bring you to an increase in your emotional state, as well as the next one here, the intellectual. There we go. Intellectual or mental well-being. And this is there's a lot of science in this, but how our brain works. Our brain is wired to seek pleasure and avoid pain. Seek pleasure and avoid pain. And through a combination of how our brain is wired and how our conditioning has taken place through our culture, we will generally focus on avoiding pain more than anything. And the biggest challenge with that is that because our brain is wired to avoid pain, we end up focusing on things that do not make us happy often. The problem with that is where your focus goes, your energy flows. And the last thing you want to be doing is focusing your energy on the things that are not going well, the things you're trying to avoid, that relationship that's not going well, that fight that you just had, the fact that you feel like you messed up on something that you had planned to do for yourself, the mistakes you've made, things like that. If you focus your energy there, then you continue to reinforce the neural pathways in your brain that fire in the direction of avoiding pain, avoiding discomfort. But if you train yourself, and this is incredibly possible, not only possible, but it's you just do it. You just do it. But it does take practice and it does take consistency. It takes commitment. But you can train your brain to focus on the positive. You can actually train yourself to go from being a pessimist to an optimist. Isn't that amazing? Like I didn't used to know that. I didn't used to believe that because I thought you were either born a pessimist or optimist. And that can be part of the case. Part of it is hardwiring and part of it is how you're brought up, conditioning, but you can actually start to create new pathways in your brain to focus on the positive. And I think that's fascinating. And as you train yourself to do so, then you'll start to notice that you will automatically start to look for the positive. So instead of bringing your focus over here to what you don't want, you shift more to focusing on what you do want. And where your focus goes, your energy flows. So you start flowing more energy toward what you want in your life. And then you'll start making choices and thinking thoughts toward that as well. So that is your intellectual. We have such amazing opportunities. And it is also through things like a gratitude practice and finding flow and just being, constantly on the lookout for things to appreciate in your life. It will fire new pathways in your brain. You can retrain your brain, and it's fascinating and it's wonderful. A big part of what I train when I'm coaching, I call it the positive reframing method. And in any situation you find yourself in, from the daily mundane frustrations to things that can be the most traumatic in your life, there's a process you can take yourself through that will help you reframe so that you can bring yourself to a more positive place. So I'm just checking for comments. Jonathan said it's so important exercise to move your body if you want a long life. You're so right. It does give you more energy. Jonathan said he started working out in 2009. You have more energy. He's in the best shape. Nutrition's important too, for sure. Nutrition is really hard for a lot of people. And I think it's because it's not because we don't know, but it's because there's so much coming at us, I think, that we get confused. it gets shaded, and we start thinking, I know I've gone through this. I read an article and I think all of a sudden I've got to go on a keto diet. I read another article and I think I've got to go on the Atkins diet. I read another article and I think I need to, follow this plan or add this into this new superfood. If God made it, it's a superfood. And yes, there are some that have different elements and vitamins and minerals that are hugely beneficial, and it's great to educate yourself on those. But eat well, eat natural, eat organic, eat free range, eat foods that are solid and whole and good for you. We know what these foods are. We just have to make the conscious choice and practice moderation. Eat the damn cookie every now and then. Sorry, Mama, I cursed. Okay, so then there's the spiritual. I don't want to keep you on all day, so let's get to spiritual. I'll be like Vanna. Okay, that was not Vanna. This is Vanna. This is like a WWE girl going across the stage. Round 2. Okay, spiritual. This basically, your spiritual well-being it's so simple. It's so vast, and sometimes people make it so complicated, but it is so simple. It is just your willingness to believe that there's something more. It is your willingness to believe and connect to a higher energy. Call it God, call it the universe, call it universal intelligence, whatever it is for you. And based on your upbringing, based on what you've been taught, you may call it different things. I was brought up to speak of this, the divine, the universal intelligence, this universal energy, our source energy. I was brought up to refer to this energy as God. So you'll often hear me refer to this energy as God. And then through, my last decade of research and deep diving, it's often referred to as source energy or universal intelligence. Guess what? It's all the same thing. It's all the same thing. And your spiritual well-being is completely wrapped up in your willingness to accept, acknowledge, and connect to the fact that there is this universal intelligence. There is this universal intelligence that is causing your heart to beat right now, that is causing your lungs to allow breath to move through your body, that is causing the earth to spin on its axis, a caterpillar to become a butterfly, an acorn to become an oak tree. This is as real gets. And science, particularly quantum physics, it's proving, we are energy and we are connected through that energy. And so whatever your background, whatever your belief system, spirituality, a lot of people confuse it with religion. Religion can bring people to spirituality. Religion can bring people to a connection with God. But religion is not the end-all be-all only way to have a connection to this greater source. In fact, religion, I might get some of the little angry emojis coming up here, but I've met people who are so full of religion, they could not possibly know God. So just be careful with, what can be considered dogma and what can cause you through religion to be judgmental. And people have died for religion. People have killed other human beings in the name of religion. So while religion can be so beautiful and the path for people to find God, it also, and for people to find spirituality, and I honor it for those reasons. And for whatever you practice, I honor that and I respect you for that. And, if you hold true to your faith, I adore you for that. But at the end of the day, spirituality is having faith in a source energy. It is about acknowledging and nurturing your connection to that source energy. And that's spirituality. That's why you've heard people say, I'm spiritual, but I'm not necessarily religious. It's because you can we each have our own connection. You don't have to have anyone else connect you to God. You don't have to have any other, mentor or pastor or coach or guide. No, you don't need someone else to connect you. Now, can others help influence and guide you on your path so that you can make your own connection? Yes, and I applaud them all day. I follow many of my mentors and guides for that very reason. They've helped me down the path to find my connection. But at the end of the day, your connection is always there. God is always shining down on you. And the only time we don't feel it is when we are pinching it off ourselves, which is why I love, if you're not familiar with the footprints, footprints in the sand, that story about a man walking down the beach next to Jesus. And he notices along his life trail that there are times there's only one set of footprints. And so when he passes and he is able to be in front of God, he said, you're with me most of my life, but in the hardest times of my life, I noticed there's only one set of footprints. And that's when God said, well, that's because that's when I carried you. So that always does that. That's the emotional well-being bubbling up. So spirituality is, so don't judge yourself if you haven't, subscribed to a specific religion, because it's not about religion. Religion, can be a phenomenal path to it, but you can have spirituality, you can have a spiritual practice, and you can have the ability to connect with this source energy that supports all of us, and that source energy that is carrying us through the hardest of times. You can do that directly. You have a direct dial. You have a direct line connection, I promise you. So next up is environmental. This is something that I do love to talk about. And it's a combination of getting out in God's environment, making sure that you have time on a regular basis outside, because the environment of nature is always uplifting. The environment of nature is always good for our well-being. And so I make sure several times a week, I just head out and go for a walk, even if it's just, 15, 20 minutes, just to be outside, to look at the trees, to watch the wind blow through, to see the flowers coming up this time of year. It's miraculous. It's beautiful. And it can be harder during certain times of year, on rainy, snowy, cold days, whatever the case may be. But I still encourage you, if not challenge you, and at the very least invite you to make sure you at least set some time aside to look out the window and appreciate the nature of this world. So that's a piece of environment. But I think a bigger piece of environment that we very much have control over is our physical environment that we exist in every day. I call it the need for sacred space. Now, it doesn't mean that, mail's not going to pile up and you're not going to have things laying around. I'm working on my laptop right now. My laptop represents work, but it also represents freedom. It's part of my opportunity to be able to do what I love to do. And so for it to be a part of my environment actually makes me feel good. And other things that are part of my environment, I have right here. I'll show you. I keep on my mantle. Oh my gosh, I'll show you a couple things. This is a picture of my son, Tyler. That is on my mantle. And right above that, I can't bring it down to show you, but is a painting that my mother had done of me and Tyler together. So that I can look at every day. This is, you've heard me talk about my brother, Michael. My brother, Michael, passed in 2007. This is on my mantle so that I can see it every day. It's part of my environment. I have a love, a little stone that says love. I have one that says live well, laugh often, love much. I have a frog doing meditation just to remind me to, yes, it's a frog and he's very sweet. Just to remind me to make sure I have that quiet time for myself as well. I have another stone that says dream on my kitchen counter right now, because it's spring and Mother's Day was recently. I have 2 different bouquets of tulips. Typically, once a week, I will get just a small bouquet of stargazer lilies. It's $6, and they last me at least a week to 10 days, and they smell fabulous. It's my favorite flower, stargazer lilies. The smell just, and then I've tried to get better about adding more color. I make sure I have plants. I'm not very good at keeping them alive, but I do the best that I can. And I have a vision board on my wall. I go into this a bit more when I'm working with my coaching clients. But your surrounding is important. Your environment is important because you're in it every day. And although you may look around and bring your focus to dust and clutter, you don't have to let that be your only focus all the time. Those things can be taken care of, but in the midst of that, you can create beauty as well. And you know what? My table right now is a mess. I've got papers and notebooks, and I'm going through a couple of different courses right now myself so that I can get better to support you. And it's kind of spread out a little bit, and I'm okay with that. Here, see if I can give you a peek. I don't care. Can you see it? You see the clutter on my table? But there's the back there too. So, but environment. So that's really important. Your physical environment. Get some color in there. Get some flowers in there. A scented candle. I've got one on my counter that's a scent that just I find uplifting. It's just, I love it. So find those things and just start to incorporate them into your environment and notice how you feel different. Notice how you can uplift yourself through a few simple additions in your environment. It could be a couple of pictures of people that you love, flowers, scented candle, incense if you are loving incense and don't have asthma, live plants, quotes. I love it. I love being able to add things to my environment that make me feel good. Okay, your environment is important. So get out in God's environment, nature, but then also make the environment that you spend a lot of time in, whether it's your home, your office, both, if you have both. Your car, oh my gosh, even your car. I've got a thing hanging around my rearview mirror that's a necklace that Tyler gave me. So every time I get in my car, I see that you are my sunshine. The things that you surround yourself with in your environment are really important. So last one, oh my goodness, we've been on for about 4 hours. Just kidding. Social. Over here, social. I'm totally mixing up my right and left right now. This is about connection. So, we talk often about the need for a connection with ourselves, with who we really are, with our highest self, with that higher power, our source energy. But connection with others is really important too. I mean, so much research has been done to support this. Abraham Maslow is probably, I've referenced him many times, and he's he's the father of the human hierarchy of needs. And his research done in the 40s is still referenced today by modern day psychologists, positive psychologists, spiritual psychologists, as a steady standard for our needs as humans. And there is, of course, the primal needs of air, water, food, and safety. But the very next need we have is connection, belongingness, to know that we are not alone, to be connected to other human beings. It is so important. And studies have shown in the last many years, 50 years in the US, that actually, I think it's even in the last 30 years. I have to look up my dates, but the number of people that we feel we have as close confidants has gone down. In fact, 25% of the people in the US don't feel like they have a close friend, don't feel like they have someone they can turn to if they were in trouble or needed advice, needed help with something. And so it's really important that we nurture connection, that we open ourselves up to connection, to social connection, and that we nurture that connection through how we treat each other, through our words and our deeds, how we treat each other as well. Really, really important. So just to run through that wheel of well-being, see if I can do it properly. You've got your physical well-being, your emotional well-being, intellectual, also known as mental well-being, getting into the health of the brain and how it fires to support you. Going the wrong way. Spiritual well-being. Then you got your environmental well-being and social well-being. And this wheel of well-being is really my primary focus. You've heard me talk recently about women empowered. And again, I know there's a few guys on the line watching, and Jonathan, Jonathan, I'm gonna get you a wig so that you can join Women Empowered, and no one will know because I love you so much. But the reason I created Women Empowered, this community to support women, is really to focus on delivering on this, because I know that no matter what you are going through in your life, no matter how you feel stuck, or what challenges you may be facing, what contrasts you might be amidst right now, bringing in conversations that stem from the wheel of well-being will take you down the path. Now, I'm going to come back live again. I've taken up too much of your time right now, but I'm going to come back live again to talk about the path toward living your inspired life. It's a 5-stage path that I've walked myself, and now I help others walk so that they can feel empowered. And it is the path that we focus on inside Women Empowered. A couple of things I wanted to tell you about Women Empowered. One, I initially had announced, as I announced it last week, that I was going to keep the doors open for a while. But we've already got a good group in. I think we've got 14 women who have joined Women Empowered. And I'm feeling this desire to just kind of go all in. And I really want to have a group of women ready to step up and live their most inspired, most empowered lives, who are ready to say, I'm ready to go in with you. And so I am actually, our first life lesson related to one of the elements of the Wheel of Wellbeing. In fact, we are going to get into a bit more of just how to set yourself up for success, create the environment you need to create, that sacred space for yourself. That's going to be on Wednesday, June 5th. So we always have our life lessons on the first Wednesday of the month. And I will provide for you our theme for the month, our mantra for the month, and then we'll do the life lesson on that Wednesday the 5th at 1 p.m. Pacific. It's in the form of a coaching call. It's Zoom video conferencing. So instead of this, where you're just having to stare at me, we get to see each other if you're brave enough to turn your camera on, and I think you are. And but the calls are recorded. So if by chance you can't be available for the live call, you actually have access to the recording of the call, so you don't miss out on the life lesson, the conversation around it. But I wanted to also just share with you two things. One, because there's been good interest bubbling up already, and because I really do want to bring this group of founding members together and start to dive in and evolve Women Empowered, this soul tribe, into exactly what you need it to be, so that I can support you on your journey to living your absolute most inspired life. I am going to be closing the doors. So with our first call being Wednesday, June 5th, I'm going to be closing the doors Monday, June 3rd at midnight. Okay, so you have between now and then, that's a good couple of weeks, week and a half at least, to make a decision if you want to join the adventure. You can go to inspiredwithkimberly.com/we, W-E, we stands for Women Empowered, fun acronym, to find out more information. But I'll tell you straight up, it's $19 a month, and you can just pay as you go. And if at any point it's not a right fit for you, you just cancel, you won't be charged anymore. Or you can, if you know this is something you want to dive into with me, then you can pay $190 for the year, which means you get 2 months for free. And I'm trying to think of some little goodie I can throw your way for taking the leap and joining me. And I think what I'm going to do is still offer up the 21-day challenge. There's a couple of bonuses already inside the program for those that join. You get the 7-day life boost, which is a downloadable PDF of 7 simple practices you can add to your day, 7 simple rituals you can add to your day, some information around why they're so important, and then a template for 7 days that you can print out, make copies of, just as like a checklist to keep yourself accountable for honoring those 7 rituals, to give you that boost that you may need in these different areas of well-being. And there's also the masterclass, 4 Key Steps to Living Your Most Inspired Life. So the Life Boost, that normally costs $7. The 4 Keys to Living Your Most Inspired Life is an hour-long overview of steps to take that are must-have steps you need to take to live the best life you can live. That is a 1-hour masterclass that sells for $19. That's inside the community. That's yours when you join. And then I have a 21-day challenge to bring in the physical component. It's called Fierce, Fit, and Fully Inspired. And from now until we close the doors, that's going to be available for you as a bonus as well. That's a $21 value. We only charge $1 a day, and I offer up at the beginning of each week a motivational message to kind of set the theme for the week. And then I offer up just no more than a 15-minute routine for each day, a combination of kickboxing, yoga, and body weight strength training. So no equipment needed, no experience needed. And each week we build on what we did the week before. So it's a very progressive 21-day challenge to help you form the habit of movement in your day. So yeah, I'm all in. I am all in for you. And I wanted to share something else with you to show you how all in I am. This is my welcome email from, his name is Stu McLaren. Stu McLaren is the founder of something called Tribe. And Tribe is an online course and coaching program to help leaders such as myself do the best job they possibly can in forming communities, in forming tribes, in forming any kind of membership community, which is what the Women Empowered Soul Tribe is. This is an opportunity for you to be a member of something spectacular. And so, because I want to be the best I can for you, I don't want to just rest on the wisdom I've gained over the years and the investments I've made in myself to gain knowledge in certain areas that I know I'm already ready to pass on to you. But I want to make sure that I provide you the best possible experience. So I invested on May 7th. You can see it right here. This is my proof. I invested almost $2,000. Almost $2,000 I just spent on becoming a better facilitator of the Women Empowered community for you. So I share that with you, not to say, oh, look at me, I spent $2,000, I put it on my credit card. But because I want you to know that I am all in on this, that this Women Empowered is my opportunity to do what I know I'm here to do. And there are certain things in my life that I have learned fill my cup. It fills my cup to be with family. It fills my cup to be with my son. It fills my cup to be out in nature. And guess what? It fills my cup to fill your cup. It fills my cup to empower you with the tools to living a better life. It fills my cup to empower you with the tools, with the guidance, and with the inspiration that I know you need to live the happiest, most fulfilling, most joyful, most inspired life. And it's the life you came here to live. Whether you realize it some days or not, it is the life you came here to live. So I'm still going to cap it. I'm still going to probably cap Women Empowered because I do want to have a solid group. Well, I want us to have some good energy and get feedback, but I want to be able to be so fully present. But there are spots available. So go to Inspired with Kimberly. I will add the link. Go to inspiredwithkimberly.com/we. inspiredwithkimberly.com/we. And notice it's not inspired by Kimberly. This isn't about you being inspired by me. We are all in this together. We will inspire and lift each other up. I think it's one of the reasons it fills my cup so much to coach women and to empower them on their path, because it inspires me so much when I see women make changes in their lives and make conscious choices that allow them to live the life they came here to live. You inspire me. So it is Inspired with Kimberly. I've had a couple of people reach out to me because they were trying to type inspired by Kimberly. No. We inspire each other. Inspired with Kimberly .com/we. So go there. You can kind of dig into the details of it. And you have until midnight on Monday. Did I get the date right on that? Monday, June 3rd. That's how long you have to consider it and join us before the doors close. And if I'll be talking a little bit more about it, but if you have any questions, please don't hesitate. Put a question in the comments, send me a private message, send me an email, Kimberly@inspiredwithkimberly.com. Reach out to me if there's a question that needs an answer that would provide the clarity for you to know if this would be a good investment for you, if this would be a good choice for you, if this would be a good fit for you. But I can tell you, no matter what you may be struggling with or where on your path you may be, I know I can help. And my niece Amanda just commented recently as she found I was doing this, and she's in the group. She said that she feels like I'm like a cat, which I thought was very strange. But she says because it feels like she's witnessed me live 9 lives with, all the contrasts, the challenges, and the different elements of life that I've moved through. And it does kind of feel that way, but in the most wonderful, blessed of ways, because I am who I am for everything that I've moved through in life. And, there is this path. There is this path, the inspired life path. And you know what? The reason I can help you is because I've walked this path. And so now I'm reaching a hand back and I'm saying, come this way, come this way, because I know how to guide you down the path. And it's an ability God's blessed me with, and I can't take that to my grave. I need to serve with it. So I am serving through Women Empowered, and I hope that you'll join me. So go to inspiredwithkimberly.com/we, find out more, sign up for your month to month, or join me for the year. Take that leap of faith, and we are going to have an amazing good time adventure. First call is June 5th. Doors close midnight, June 3rd. If you have questions, don't hold them in. Let me know. If it's not a good fit, I will not be offended. We will stay connected. I'll keep showing up for you here. But if it is a good fit, then we can take this to a whole nother level. So with that, thank you for sharing a bit of time with me and covering off on my wheel of well-being, my gorgeous wheel of well-being, my masterpiece of art that I created on Canva. So talented. Not. But thank you for walking through the wheel with me, and I hope you have an absolutely amazing rest of the day. Until our paths cross again, I am sending you so much love. Take care.